And it is live. All right, here we go. We are bringing down the show, and I've just got a few other little quick things to do. In the meantime, we're going to have a little bit of pre-stream music and get the bat signal out. Bat signal's away. Come on, folks. Come on, join in. Two listeners online.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time.
Devin in the mine. Alrighty, there we go. Coming right down to the wire for it today. Excellent. Okay, we're about to take the show live and see where we go. And for those of you that are listening on the live stream, we do have a guest host, all to be introduced in due time. So this will be loads of fun. Gonna be a good show, I think. All right, let's take it and flip it on over. There we go. That's it. It is showtime, folks, and we are off. It is time to wind this puppy up. Traveling the New Road. It's episode 456 with plugins for migration and searching, emailing and post queries, SEO tracking, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z.
WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gem? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress plugins from A to Z.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the Brewery Overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I'm John Overall. And of course, according to the Mueller Report, you are listening to the WP Plugins A to Z, the best ClassicPress WordPress podcast in the universe. A big thank you out there to the No Agenda Show for their contributions of ideas and the occasional sound clip.
Squirrel!
All right, and this is a value for value show, and I look forward to everyone providing some value back. So, of course, right off, it is episode 456, and I do need more participation from you, the producers out there this year, as the sword of Damocles is still hanging over the show. I really want to yank that away, but I really need folks to participate in multiple ways. We'll talk about those later. This is episode 16 of 52 for 2020. And as we are 16 weeks into 2020 and 4 weeks into the isolation lockdown game, my life really hasn't all changed all that much, aside from not being able to go out for my weekly beer at the brewery tasting room right after the show. But they are making beer, and I can smell it daily from the Brewery Overlook, meaning, of course, my apartment looks out over the brewery, so I can smell it. I just can't go over there and grab it. Today, I do have a special guest host. His name is Brian Holder from Hatboro Design, and he is going to be joining us a little bit later in the show as we get into everything else. So make sure you go check out his website and the things that he does offer. If you would like to join me as a guest host on the show, please reach out to me at John at wppro.ca. You can also go to wppluginsa2z.com/guest host to fill out the information and join me for a future show. It is looking like we are headed down a new road now, and the future is starting to take shape. It is looking promising with some things that were on the horizon getting closer, and in the coming weeks, we'll show all of that how it's going to be changing in the world. So relax, folks, take a break, go for a walk, build a garden, realize that while our world is now changed forever, we will get through it. Save your sanity and your amygdala. Go find out why you're not going to die by listening to the No Agenda Show. All right, so this is it. We're going to dive right into the world of WordPress news. And welcome to the show, Brian. I really appreciate you coming on with me.
Yeah, excellent. I'm happy to be here. This is a show that I've listened to for many years, and it's quite the honor to be guest hosting with you.
Well, I'm always excited to have a new guest host and another voice here. It gives me a little bit more fun and excitement to my show versus for the last year and a bit. I've been doing it all by myself. So, all right, we've got some news. I know I sent you a little bit about the news things that I'm going to be covering up on here. But first off, the first item up on the list of news I've got this week is the usual roundup of vulnerabilities for April 2020. This is part one of what iThemes puts out. They put out 2 parts a month. Usually around the 15th and around the end of the month, they put out these posts telling you about the issues that have been found in plugins, core themes, in the core or in the themes. Now, in this week's episode of it, they don't have any core vulnerabilities or any core vulnerabilities, but they do have several plugins. Most of the plugins they mentioned have been patched, but there are a couple in here to bring attention to for you. And when you scroll down the list, you find out they have one, Contact Form 7 Date Picker. And this is something when I used to use Contact Form 7, I did add in there. It's a date picker for the forms, but it seems that plugin has a issue and it was removed from the WordPress repository. So they are recommending you get it off your site ASAP because it may have a problem pending review. The art picture gallery is got another plugin that you'll want to take care of. I've never heard of it, but if you happen to use it, you'll want to get that off there because it, again, has been removed from the gallery. Now, there's another one here called WP Lead Plus X, and it has a cross-site request forgery vulnerability, and you'll want to remove the plugin until the patch is released, or at least turn it off so it's not being used. Anyway, go check this out. It's a good list, and it tells you what's up in the plugin world and in the core and theme world if there's issues. And they usually catch them at a reasonable amount of time for you to know if you're going to be dealing with that. Okay, so the next item we have for you in the world of news is just a quick article here talking about WordPress websites using WooCommerce have been targeted by credit card skimmers. Now, this is an important one. If you're running a WooCommerce site and you're running the credit cards through your site, or you have a system that collects the credit card information on your site and then sends it off to someone else, they have a skimmer program. And what this program is a JavaScript that's hiding within a JavaScript. So it's really hard to be found. And then what it does is it snaps a photo of the credit card data on the screen and then saves that photo on your website, and then the hackers log into your website and download and delete those photos. So this is something to be concerned about. And I do know that it does happen because way back, the only time I've ever been scammed on the internet, knock on wood, was when I ordered some plugins from WooCommerce back when they used to take their payments through Africa. And I ended up with my credit card being skimmed in between man-in-the-middle attack and almost lost $5,000. So it does happen. So you'll want to be aware of it if you're running a WooCommerce site like that. So keep an eye on that and check out your clients. It's a very important thing to have happen. Okay, another couple of quick articles. These ones I won't cover much, but you'll want to go read. Is from WPMU Dev, is an article on how to reduce your TTFB. And for those that don't know that, that's time to first byte, and that'll help boost your WordPress page speed. So something you'll want to go check out. It's a really good article, talks a bit about it. Another article from The Tavern is how to fight the stay-at-home boredom. Time to create rather than consume. So you can get in there. They give you some ideas on things you can do besides being bored. Now, the next article, this one here is a great mind bender. I was reading through this article, and it's understanding the difference between IPv4 and IPv6. And the internet fully is moving to IPv6, much to my regret, because I like the IPv4 because it's much easier to understand versus IPv6. This is a good article. It's very long. It goes into a full discussion explaining the differences between the two, how they work, how they don't actually know how to talk to each other. They actually run side by side on the internet. And that is what's happening now on the system as IPv4 is slowly phased out. Mainly because, well, we ran out of IP addresses and they needed something to an exponential degree with IPv6 where they really hope we'll never run out. But of course, we will. Another one here, this is an article from the Tavern on what's in store for WordPress for 2020. This is a roadmap that's being laid out for WordPress for 2020 and what sort of things you can expect in the 2020 developments of WordPress. Some will be good, some will be bad, some will be controversial, some we won't want, but they'll be forced down our throat anyway, simply due to the fact that our benevolent dictator for life has decreed it, and if he decrees it, that's what we get. The joys of being the benevolent dictator. Okay, and second to last one here is the best RSVP plugins for WordPress multi-sites. This is a decent article about 5 registration or event calendar add-ons. None of them I found overly exciting. I have not used any of them, so they might be what these guys figured to be the best, and they may or may not be good. Check the article out. It might give you some information. The final piece I got here, tossed in at the last minute as I was doing my show notes, is that it seems Zoom is really having a bad month. They started off to be the darling of everybody when everybody was sent home to work, and they quickly became a problem as Zoom bombers came in. Now there is 2 zero-day hacks that the hackers are attempting to sell to Microsoft for $500,000. And accordingly, these hacks can get in there and allow anyone to remote view any Zoom meeting that's going on and then another one. It's like, it really makes you not want to use Zoom. So if you've been using Zoom, you might want to rethink that one for a little while. That's really all the news I got. Anything you want to add to that there, Brian? I know I've.
No, I think that's good. Credit card skimmers. I actually fell victim to that too about 2 years ago, and I did lose several $1,000s as a result of it. So I'm wondering if it's was it just taking a screenshot? I guess as the user types in the credit card number.
Yep, it takes a screenshot. The JavaScript takes a screenshot as soon as the credit card number and information is filled in.
So I wonder if the savvy developers out there can figure out a way to just convert that text field maybe like a password field.
Yeah.
So that way the user types, they can't, you're not seeing the actual numbers.
Oh, I'm sure they could probably do something. The other thing I would suggest for folks is I use a program or a plugin called File Monitor Plus, and it tells you anytime new files are added to your site unexpectedly. So every time it would create an image, you would get an email, and it would sort of trigger you. It's like, why am I adding images to my site that I didn't add? So
yeah, good.
A way to capture that kind of information. Yeah, that one there. I was fortunate. My bank was really good and helped me fetch back. It took me 3 weeks to get all my money back, but they got me all my money back. So I was one of the fortunate ones in that aspect. Okay.
I was not.
yeah. I feel when it happens to folks like that. Okay, so we got a little bit. This show, of course, is a value for value show. And what I like to do is showcase and talk about the people who support the show every week. This show doesn't work without you, the producers. And I like to acknowledge the producers that have supported the show in various ways. And first off, I like to talk a little bit like the artwork. I'm really enjoying the fact right now, Angel Lemieux from Koa Digital has been providing me all my artwork with an occasional piece here and there for others. I would love to see tons of other artwork coming in. You can go to the WP Plugins art generator. My logos are right there to download to add into the art. Just add them in and you provide me the art, give me the right size square, and that's what gets used in the iTunes or the podcast repositories. So the image is changed with every show. I'm told it improves the show, but it's also, as I'm one of the few shows out there that does that. I actually stole this idea from the No Agenda show. And so I make an effort to change the artwork. This week's artwork from Angel Lemieux is a really beautiful mountainscape artwork, and it's apropos to the new road we were on. So thanks a lot, Angel. I really greatly appreciate it. And the executive producers, I don't have any executive producers. Those are for anyone that comes in $50 or more in donations. They do happen from time to time, so I look forward for when they do. But a big thank you goes out to those who come in under $50. We got a few of you who have weekly and monthly subscriptions that donate to the show. Currently, the money never makes it into my pocket. It really just helps offset the costs of the server and the bandwidth and the other little incidentals that are required to run a website and a podcast. So, but a big thank you to all that's done that. And to those of you who have hired me because of this show, a big thank you to you for that. That is as good as donating to the show. So thank you very much. And if you would like to donate to the show, well, simply what we need most of all.
We just need cash. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
Absolutely. Just send cash. You can donate by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate to donate to the show. Or, of course, the art generator, wppluginsa2z.com art, and donate to the show. Or you can submit articles, information, suggestions for reviews. All those things do eventually make it into the show. So thank you very much to all those that are supporting the show. Would also like to hear from folks in emails or contacts or anything like that. All right, so that pretty much wraps up that first part. Let's dive into the meat and potatoes of the show. All right, so first off, what I got for you is the ClassicPress options. This week here, really light on ClassicPress still. ClassicPress has been quiet the last couple of months. I noticed last year about this time it got really quiet, so maybe it's just a quiet time. Everybody's working hard and they're about to introduce a bunch of stuff. But I do have a new plugin specifically built for ClassicPress. It is called the ZP Remove Customizer. This is a plugin if you're using ClassicPress and you don't like the customizer that's there. This plugin here removes the entire customizer from ClassicPress. Probably will speed up your site, but will require you to do your work in other ways if you've been depending on the customizer to do all your customizations in the header and stuff. Looks like a very interesting plugin. I have not had an opportunity to test it out, so I don't have a rating for it this week, but it is an interesting plugin to check out. Go check it out. It's from ZigPress, and it is the ZP Remove Customizer. Now, we do also have the usual stuff, the ClassicPress resource list. To let you know, though, also, that seems there are 2 new plugins in the ClassicPress specific plugins list over at classicpress.net. This is a list maintained by CodePotent, and it's gone from 50 to 52 plugins. So there's 2 new plugins in this list. The customizer was the one I noticed that was new. I'm not sure what the other one is. I got to look through the list to figure that one out. So go check it out. Go check out this list over at classicpress.net. And that's really all I've got for you there. So let's dive into what we have for WordPress. And we're going to pop off. First, I'll let Brian, since I've been doing all the talking, let's get Brian talking up a bit. He's got some plugins for us today. So the first one here, what have you got for us, Brian?
Well, the first one I'm bringing in is called Post SMTP. And what this plugin does is it allows you to replace the default WordPress mail engine in your WordPress. So if you're experiencing issues where a lot of your emails are hitting spam, or if for some reason you're on a server like DigitalOcean where email isn't enabled on the server by default, you can completely bypass that because this will send emails through HTTPS or SMTP. If SMTP isn't available, use HTTPS. And you can link it up to your Gmail or G Suite account, or you can use email API like SendGrid, Mail, or Mailgun. So SendGrid has an excellent free level program. So what I'll do is when I set up a new site, I'll set up a SendGrid account for them, and it includes something like 100 emails a month or 1,000 emails a month or something like that, which generally for most of the businesses, at least that I work with, it's perfectly fine. That's more than enough. They're just receiving contact form submissions and stuff like that. And it works flawlessly. So if you're experiencing any issues, then definitely one to look at. Oh, and it's completely free as well.
You got a little free
repo. Yeah. So for that, I'm giving this one a 5 Dragon.
Excellent. So yeah, that's a pretty useful thing. A lot of servers aren't able to provide the email, and you're also looking at the problem of some servers, while they might provide email, they don't guarantee the cleanness of their IP address from their servers.
Yeah, if you're on a shared hosting environment, then most of the time your emails are going to be hitting somebody's spam folder, and this is an excellent way to bypass that and send it through a very clean IP address.
Yeah, because sometimes you need those emails to arrive.
Yeah,
right.
You don't want to miss a contact form submission that could lead to a sale.
Absolutely,
for sure.
You definitely want those to arrive in. Okay, so what I've got for you here is called WP Migrate DB Pro. Now, I may or may not have covered this one in the past. I probably have. I've been using the plugin for a couple of years now, actually 3 years. I noticed yesterday when I had to use it that I've been paying for the license for 3 years. So I'm in my 3rd year of using it. This is an excellent plugin for migrating your WordPress website in multiple ways. One of the first things it does for you is it allows you to migrate a database from one WordPress website to another. The best uses I have found for this is when you're doing local development, you can set up a local site all nice and clean, connect it to your live site, and download your entire live site to your local environment. And it not only downloads the database, it grabs your themes, your plugins, everything to go with it, all the images, graphics, the entire thing. One smooth move. And then you can do all your changes. And then when you push that data back up to your live site, it'll push up whatever components it needs. It'll double check to see if you got new images, then it uploads them. If they're all matched, it doesn't upload them. It does a great job on that. My favorite thing to use it for is when I have to work on WordPress MU sites, the multi-user sites, or the WordPress multi-sites, where you have one site, multiple domains. And I had to use it again this week to migrate a multi-user site. The site I needed off of it was migrating to a new domain, but we needed the site that wasn't the primary site on this multi-user site. It was one of the sub-sites in there, but we needed to get this sub-site over to the primary site. And this site allows you to migrate out of a multi-user site one single sub-site and migrate just that one single sub-site out to another WordPress setup, which is quite the achievement in that aspect. And it gets it nice and cleanly. So I use that to migrate the site, and it saved me tons of time and tons of effort to get this done, and then allowed me to take this new site, which was being turned into an MU site, just turn that into an MU site, and now I migrate out all the other sites one at a time. So it's a fantastic plugin. It's not cheap, but it's worth every penny you pay. I think it costs like $199 a year or something like that. But once you use it to save yourself 10 hours of time, you've paid for it 10 times over. So go check this out. It's WP Migrate DB Pro, and I give it a 5 Dragon rating.
Yeah, that's a nice one. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, I've been using it for a couple, 3 years now, and I'd heard it a couple of times, but I couldn't justify the cost for the longest time. And then I got a project that was big enough to justify the cost, and I've just kept paying for it because sometimes I'll go months and not use it, and then all of a sudden I just need it for migrating stuff. All right, so what do you got for us next, Brian?
All right, well, the next plugin that I have brought to the table here is called Advanced Post Queries. This is available in the repo, and this works with Elementor Pro. So Elementor Pro is a very popular page builder, and it has a widget called the Post widget. So the Post widget allows you to basically display a list of your posts, and there's different ways to format it. You can have a list, different columns, different styles, and you can have the plugins to style it. But they have very limited options when it comes to querying the posts. You can usually query by post type and by a certain author or by a certain taxonomy, but what Advanced Post Queries does is it allows you to further the query right there within the post object, within the widget object. So, for instance, if you have a website you're trying to build like a front end where somebody can log in and manage guest posts that they've made for you, then you can set this post query up to only query and show posts that are related to the logged in user, for instance. So I found this because I was actually redesigning the website for my local chamber of commerce, and we were basically making this massive website that had directory and job postings and everything, and I was trying to build out a front end so that the businesses who logged in could only see the posts that they posted, and this was absolutely the plugin to do it, and it is totally free as well. So that one gets a 5 Dragon rating from me.
Yeah, excellent. I like that. I've never heard of it, so I'm going to have to investigate it because I have a membership site that it might work very well on.
Oh, and it's not just post queries by user, but you can post query by date, by terms, just about anything. It's a really, really cool plugin.
I like it. I'd say, yeah, one I never heard of, so I'm actually going to have to check into that. Okay, so next up, what I have for you is called Better Search and Replace. Now, this plugin is made by the same guys that makes the WPDB Migrate, and which is Delicious Brains. I just love the name of their company. And what this one does for you, this is a freebie from them, and once you install it, it allows you to go into your site and search for anything in the database and replace it with anything. Now, my main use for this, and I've been using this one for quite a few years now, just about the time that we first started moving from HTTP to HTTPS. And one of the biggest problems you have to do is go through the database and fix all the URLs that are in the database that are wrong. And this plugin here allows you to go through and do that from the back end of WordPress without having to mess with PHP MyAdmin and SQL queries. Nice and simple and easy to use. Now, it can be a deadly danger. If you make a typo, you can break your entire site. So be very careful with it. Make sure you've made a database backup before you start messing with a tool like this so that you can restore back to where you were before you made a mistake. Excellent tool. I've been using it for quite a while. It always does the job. Has not made a mistake once, and we'll tap on wood just to make sure of that. But great tool. Go check it out. Better search and replace, and I give it a 5 dragon rating.
Yeah, those kind of tools are excellent. And that might be a good one that to use with your first plugin choice there. To maybe download into a local environment to test that out and play with it before you do anything.
This plugin here will allow you to download the database too.
Nice.
It's got a lot of nice tools that are just free with it. It's basically from what I can tell, it's a simple version of their WPDB migrate tool.
Okay.
So it's
I had a website. I did a company intranet for somebody, and I had this WooCommerce, and I was trying to rename the coupon codes to be something else. They wanted to call them safety bucks, and it was very difficult to go and find every reference to the word coupon to rename it.
Yeah, well, that's where this tool. I've used this tool for that sort of thing too. My biggest one is when I get a website that's still running on HTTP and I got to convert it to HTTPS, plus a website where they might have started with www and then they dropped the www, so now they have mixed URLs through all their sites.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the biggest things I do there. Okay, so what you got for us next?
Well, the next plugin I'm bringing is one called SEO Ultimate. So in the WordPress repo, there is a never-ending stream of different SEO plugins, and everybody has their preference, and this used to be my preference many years ago. Does everything that just about every other SEO plugin does. It gives you the ability to kind of control all of your metadata that goes into the page, and it had this excellent feature that was called the deep link juggernaut. And what you could do is it would take any kind of text that you wanted on your site. So let's say you wanted to link the text home office. This is something that's relevant for right now, right? And link it to, let's say, an affiliate link, or link it to another post or another page on your site. You just say, link any reference to the word home office to this URL, and it would just go through and do it. But the problem is that this plugin has not been updated now in over 3 years. Which is disappointing because this is a feature that I absolutely loved of this plugin. But it's just super important to make sure that when you're looking at plugins, to always thoroughly vet the plugin. Don't just look at the reviews. Make sure you check the comments, the support requests, and make sure that the developers are responsive and that the thing is constantly updated. Because these old plugins are the most vulnerable for different types of malicious attacks. So for that reason, and because it's still in the repo, even though it's been long since abandoned, I'm giving this one a 2 dragon rating.
Oh, that one.
And it's dropping.
There you go. God, I haven't used that in a long time. Yeah, well, looking at it too, it's sad because it's got over 100,000 plus active installs, and it sounds like it's time for someone to grab that plugin, fork it, and improve it. Because you have got a decent built-in audience. All you gotta do is get news to all the audience. Say, hey, look, I've cleaned this up, forked it, and improved it, man. Time to switch.
Yeah.
Make it easy for people to switch. All right, yeah, I after you mentioned it and I looked at it, it's like, yeah, I sort of remember, I think I might have used it back in my first couple of years of working with WordPress. Mm-hmm. And then I moved on to starting to use Yoast, and now I'm using something math, rank math. Rank math is what I'm using.
Yeah.
Because rank math is really, really nice, and I don't think it does what you were talking about, that little link it for the keyword, but
it was an excellent feature, and it was pretty sophisticated too. You could have it say only do it this many times per page, or it automatically dampen the number of times it links over time, and it was an awesome feature. I wish more of them had that.
Yeah, that sounds like a really great feature to have. All right, well, the final one I've got for you here, this is for the joys we're having with the Wuhan flu. And this is a COVID-19 live tracking plugin. Of course, I just love capitalism, man. It works so well. And this plugin here is what I thought was a bit of a freebie at first. I figured it was just somebody who threw something together for tracking maps and stuff. It turns out they're trying to sell it. But these guys here are a little slow in figuring out how capitalism really works, in that while you're trying to sell something and you've made it 50% off, you should really make it so they could actually buy it. When I clicked on their links to buy it to find out a little information, they go nowhere. So I don't know what these guys are up to. Anyway, it is an interesting plugin in the aspect of that it does give you a map of the world to see where COVID or Wuhan flu or the Chinese virus or whatever you want to call it is floating at across the globe and what they are. Also shows up the places where they have none, such as Libya. They have nothing. The Democratic Republic of Congo. And in Swahili? No, Swallowbird, Jan Mayen, Swallowbird. Can't get it. It's falling off the thing. So they got some issues with it, man. It jumps right off the page where you can't read it. So at any rate, it's an interesting plugin unto itself, but just due to the fails they've got there, I ended up tanking this one too and giving it a 2 dragon rating. On top of the 2 dragon rating, for that reason, I almost forgot to mention, I've been testing any plugins I test lately. I test on my ClassicPress dev site, and if they don't work there, I pretty much avoid them, and this one will only work on WordPress 5 or better. So that sort of puts it right down at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, it's funny. I've seen a couple of those types of plugins pop up on Code Canyon too, and it's like anything to make a buck.
Anything to make. I love capitalism, man. Anything to make a buck.
Great.
You get the information free everywhere else on the world, but hey, take my plug-in here, whatever we're going to charge you for it.
Right.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps us up and covers us what we covered up in this set of plugins here. Oh, we're not done there. We got, of course, the commercial. This show currently brought to you by
Save time and money managing multiple WordPress websites. If you have several WordPress websites to manage, either for your clients or yourself, then you know how much time it can take managing them all. Time that is spent on mundane administrative tasks and then losing that time for your important business tasks. CMS Commander is an online service that solves this problem and makes managing multiple WordPress websites fast and easy, as simple as controlling a single site. By placing all your websites in one powerful dashboard, CMS Commander makes it possible to update, backup, and manage them all at the same time in one place. Features of CMS Commander include one-click updates of plugins, themes, and WordPress core for all sites, automatic scheduled website backups, website cloning and restoration, uptime monitoring and analytics integration, bulk posting and automatic content. Sign up now for your 14-day trial at cmscommander.com and access all the features that will allow you to manage more websites and save time.
Absolutely. CMS Commander is great. And if you do sign up for it, please use the links off of the website or in the show notes, because it is an affiliate link. They don't pay me for that ad, but I'd be really happy if someone wants to pay me for that ad space. I'll create the ad for you and get it up and running. All right. One quick thing. Hemdian made a note in the chat for it that he gives a thumbs up for the better search and replace. He uses it all the time. So thanks again, Hemdian. I really appreciate your feedback. Okay, and listener feedback. Well, that's a good listener feedback there. We don't really have any, but it would be really great for all you folks out there. And I know there's thousands of you downloading the show. At least that's the appearance in my downloads, is that it gets downloaded thousands of times a week. Somebody out there has to have a couple of minutes right now while they're sitting in their home, avoiding all their work, where they can, send me a short note. Email john@wppro.ca, hit the contact forms on the website, or even hit the speak pipe and leave me a voice message that I can play on the show. Any of that stuff there, I would love to get it into the show. Okay, and a contest. We do have the contest running, and this is the last week for your chance to win.
Are you still working?
We have... What was that?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, God. For a second, I thought it was one of my kids.
No, that was mine. She didn't shut away.
That's the one joy right now. Both my kids. I'm sure it came through on the thing. My kids hit me on the walkie-talkie. They were out playing, and I've got them with walkie-talkies so I can get hold of them if I need them.
Right.
So anyway, back to the contest. 1 week left for the contest when we are giving away a license for Event Espresso. This is a $300 value, folks. It's the full-blown license, the Event Espresso Everything license or the Event Espresso Developer license, whichever one suits your needs. And of course, I think I've talked about Event Espresso a few times. Really great plugin. I used it years ago when they were brand new. I interviewed Seth Schultz when he was brand new with this. This is like going back 6 or 7 years when the show first started. And then I interviewed him not too long ago, and the link to the interview with Seth is in the show notes. And it's dramatic how this plugin has improved over the years. It got to the point where I wouldn't use it because it was too much of a headache. And then I had to use it last year for a client to build out a conference website, and their choice was Event Espresso. And once I went through setting it up, I turned out the day I've made it very, very usable and user-friendly now. And it's not only good for in-person stuff, but it's good for virtual stuff and a great way to collect fees for your conferences. So go check it out. Sign up for the contest. Maybe you'll win that full-blown license and save yourself $300 for your first year of using it. Anyway, go check it out, and that's all we really got for you right now. And if you are a developer who would like to support the show and you want to donate to the show, donate a premium license to the show, and we'll create a contest around your plugin and showcase it for a week or two, maybe even a month. Depends on how long we need to run a contest for. Okay, and closing out this episode, the plugins we covered were WP Migrate DB Pro, which got a 5. Post SMTP, which got a 5. Better Search and Replace, which got a 5. Advanced Post Queries, which got a 5. And the COVID-19 Live Tracking, which got a 2. And the SEO Ultimate, which got a 2. And then the ZP Remove Customizer, which is unranked at the moment. And a couple of quick reminders. The next WordPress meetup for Victoria will be April 28th, 2020. It's not looking like we're going to be able to have an in-person meetup because I don't think BC is going to lift the restrictions for that. But I will be doing this live from the Brewery Overlook. And I will stream it live of what I'm going to do. And what I'm going to be talking about is migrating your website from WordPress.org or any other web host out there to a new web host. And what kind of problems will you encounter, and how you can avoid the problems that you'll be looking at when it's time to do your migrations from one website to one web host to another. Some are easy, some not so easy. It all depends on where you're going and who is handling that job for you. So this will be an interesting one for those that have gotten fed up with their current host or outgrown their host and they're looking to move to a better place. So make sure you tune in for that. It'll be on April 28th, and it'll still be at 6:30 p.m. Broadcast live from the Brewery Overlook. I do have a new interview show out right now. It is with Kevin Brent from WP Data Sync, and we're talking about his new plugin. So if you haven't checked out that interview show, go check it out. It is now available up on WP Plugins A to Z, along with the show notes and links for it. If you want to learn a little bit more about me, feel free to go check out theroguestavern.com. where check out my adventures into the wild, searching for gold, hiking, camping, out on the range. And a new segment is coming to that where I am turning a backyard from a wasteland into a urban edible forest. And I've just started editing the videos on it. So it's going to take a while to get stuff up on that. That's pretty much I got. Anything you want to toss in here, Brian, before we close out the show?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to let my girl take us out of here. Don't run off on me yet, Brian, no?
Yep, you got it.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsato.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsato.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsato.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
And there we have it. Had an extra long show today, so I think I'm going to run out the end of the stream, folks. So thank you all for joining me. I greatly appreciate those of you that came in live. We capped out, it looked like 5 today, so nice one today. Take care now. Bye-bye.
There you go.